Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel, The Brick Sweethearts. As you may have noticed, we've put up a few videos to celebrate May the 4th and Star Wars in general. Today, I thought I'd, actually rep something that says Star Wars on it, so, a bit of Star Wars spirit, as I say. In today's episode, we are moving away from battle packs. I know, some of you might be expecting another one, but nope. Today, we are going for a full-size set, and this one specifically is set 75302, the Imperial Shuttle. The Imperial Shuttle was released in March of 21, and then subsequently was retired in December of 22. So it might be a bit difficult to still find these on the shelf store. We were very lucky. We actually drove quite a bit far away to visit a toy store that we were hoping had some other sets, and then luckily enough, this was the last one on the shelf, so I had to grab it because I have never seen it before and I didn't even know that they did the Imperial Shuttle. Once I found it, I then decided to look up a few videos on YouTube, and of course, there is a number of different versions. I think this is the most recent one, but there was a few older ones that were available, and obviously we were not collecting during that period, so we had no clue that these existed. They even had a UCS version, very large. It seems to be on the top of everyone's lists when it comes to their top UCS ships that the LEGO have been made over time. So it definitely seems to be a fan favorite. Now, personally, I'm not entirely sure why there's a big hype around it. It is an iconic ship from the movies, and it does have a nice shape, the way it folds its wings down, so it's not like it looks ugly, but there definitely seems to be a kind of real attachment from people to this. So I am curious to see. I will be building this, and of course there's no way for me to know exactly why people are in love with this, but hopefully by building this I'll kind of understand why so many people adore the Imperial Shuttle. I know that the UCS version is really huge. Personally, I'm a bit not quite settled on it. I do think that this wing here being fully brick built, as in what I mean, like the thick bricks, so not the thin sheets like this one, which again, I'm still not 100% sold on this either. I do think it would be nice to have a few more tiles on it, but I'm not 100% sold on the thick brick that is used here. Hopefully I'll get a better understanding of the Imperial Shuttle and why everyone loves it so much, and then we'll see where it goes. But it'll still be a nice addition to my collection, since obviously I don't have it and I would like to kind of grow my Imperial force. And of course we will talk about the figures that are included. So I have a few thoughts about there. I feel like we could have gotten one or two more just to kind of round out the whole thing, but let's get into building this, seeing what it's like. We'll talk about the figures. We'll talk about, how it goes together, because I am interested to see how they put these wings together, since they are supposed to fold up when the ship lands. And then, I do see on the back, let me just pull it up here for you, that it opens up, so I am curious to see how that mechanism works. And of course, the cockpit also opens up. It'll be interesting to see what techniques they use there, and I'm sure I'll still have a fun time building this, hopefully. I'll catch you after I build it. Welcome back, folks. We just finished building. here is the Imperial Shuttle. A pretty decent design, not gonna lie. One or two small flaws, I'll get to that. But I still had fun building it. So, let's discuss the miniatures or minifigures that you receive. We have Luke, Darth Vader, and of course an Imperial officer. What I'll do is I'll get you some close-ups now. Let's discuss the minifigures that come with this set. As we can see, we have Luke on the right, Darth Vader in the middle, and of course the Imperial officer. Now, because it is a playset, obviously LEGO wants you to be able to add all of these figures into the actual ship itself, hence why we only get 3. Because the officer is supposed to be flying the ship, and then Darth Vader and Luke will be in the back sitting around. This of course kind of limits the minifigures because at the end of the day it would have been nice to get a proper TIE pilot to also, be here flying the ship, and then also it would have also been nice to get a stormtrooper to just have with the set. But overall, let's look at the figures that we do have. We have the Imperial officer, which, to be honest, it's not bad, but also very plain in the fact that it's mostly just black figure with a few gray lines on it. So yeah, there's a bit of missed opportunity there. Not the most striking, but to be honest, if you really think about it, the other two are kind of the same, but obviously because Luke has his lightsaber and Darth Vader also has his iconic helmet and lightsaber, the rest of the design kind of fades in the back while giving way to the 2 lightsabers and the helmet and headpiece. It's still nice that we get the officer. I'm going to enjoy adding this to my collection since I don't have one of him. It just would have been nice to get a few extra. Going back to the shuttle itself, I was definitely impressed with how the wings are constructed. More specifically, the hinges right here. Let me just pull them down a tiny bit. I have to say I'm liking these. I don't know if you can see them properly, but there are these grey little articulation arms that help keep them in place. So it's not like it will just flop down by itself. You do have to put a bit of pressure to make them go down, but they're also kept up, so the weight of the wing is not going to pull it down further. Whether or not that will maintain itself over time, if let's say you're constantly playing with it and moving it up and down, we'll see what happens with these little connection points. But no, I'm quite happy with the fact that the weight isn't pulling them down and they do stick in place. So that's definitely a positive from my end. Now, the build itself for this wing, it's pretty sturdy, I have to say. I was, again, worried that this would kind of easily fall, or if you're handling it too rough, it will just fall apart. But no, I think the design that they put in the back does keep these panels connected without any worries that they're just gonna fly off. So again, a positive in that end. I still would have preferred if they got more of these tiles and maybe, connected a few extra ones around here to get rid of some of the studs, but overall, still pretty happy with how the side wings came out, and it exceeded my expectations in that regard. Now, let me just pull these back down a bit. The top wing itself, still not the biggest fan. The fact that it has the thick bricks from the LEGO system, and it's not more plate-like. It just feels slightly bulky, this wing, in comparison to these two. The thickness definitely stands out for me. I'm not the biggest fan that it is that thick, but at the same time, it's still I don't think I would have enjoyed having two of these with open studs going all the way up. So it's kind of like, at least it's nice and flat and smooth, but to do that, I had to use the thicker bricks. So, you know, a push and a pull in a sense. The one thing, well, I guess there's two little things that are kind of a bit odd from this and would be a bit of a negative. So if you see down here, personally, I don't mind that this is sticking out. I suppose when you look at the movies, this would be where the ramp would fall down and people would be able to walk out. But we do have some very bad gaps around the head. I feel like, I suppose it seems like these stud shooters are kind of taking some real estate where there could have been extra panels maybe to get rid of these gaps, but they wanted to obviously add that play feature, which of course, as I said, it does affect the figures that you get because it's supposed to be a play set and not just a display set, hence why you can obviously add the Imperial officer here, and then with a push here you can open it up and you will add Darth Vader and Luke in here. Again, it's one of those things where because of its size they do only offer 3. As I said, I would have preferred at least a TIE pilot just to have to actually be in here, and if we're being cheeky enough, would have also enjoyed a extra stormtrooper to help guard Luke, I suppose. But yeah, as you can see, because of its size and because it is meant to be a playset, the cockpit does have some pretty bad gaps. Again, I don't particularly mind that we have this bit here as well that does kind of bulk out the neck area. That's an okay part for me. But the second part that is a bit kind of iffy is this gap here. Again, it makes sense that they're using it to create this play feature so that you can access where you're gonna put Darth Vader and Luke. But as far as I'm aware, they should be able to kind of move in between this section and the cockpit. But obviously in this play feature, or in this playset, you know, there's a void here, so that's why there's this gap here, which, as I said, not the biggest fan of that, and then not the biggest fan of the gaps here. But overall, I'm still quite happy with the set itself. It would be great if there was some way of holding it better. In other words, like if they had maybe inbuilt something here, like a Technic piece that you could maybe hold and it would be able to fly it that way. Otherwise, you do need to find yourself a specific section that you kind of feel most comfortable with, and you have to make sure that you are, you know, picking a spot where you're not going to start ripping off pieces. So if you're going to start pulling it up here or up here, a bit, maybe let me put a bit of force just to show you, then all of a sudden while you're playing, and if you're being a bit rough or, you know, flying it about a bit, all of a sudden that's going to pop off. Here it's a bit better because the Technic pieces that are down here are connected into the frame itself, so you can obviously hold it there pretty well, and you can kind of just grip it that way and keep the whole back of it. But when you do that, you don't get to see these nice engines, which they turned out pretty decent. You can obviously hold it that way, but you're gonna not see these sections, and then you have the little tail guns here. Another nice little feature is that you do have wing mounted guns and of course hull mounted guns. So obviously because you have the stud shooters, you can pretend that these are firing off, and then once you have your stud shooters loaded, just pop it out, and then, you know, your little studs will fly off and hopefully make sure not to hit anyone in the face, and specifically the eye. You definitely don't want that to hurt you. But yeah, nice little play features. I'm still enjoying pulling these wings up and down, that's for sure. It definitely would be cool to get some sort of stand, whether clear based or maybe a specific one that kind of, if you know the ones from the new Starship collection, something like that would keep it open. I know that the UCS version has its own stand, but that one just kind of keeps it up straight. So it would be nice if you could get a stand that would help you put it on a tilt, so you can keep the wings open but it also on a tilt. I think most of the ships from Star Wars always look better if you not only have them flying up but also slightly tilted. It just kind of brings out their design a bit better. Let's wrap things up. Overall, I still had a lot of fun building this set. Yes, it has its two little flaws that kind of stand out to me, the gaps at the cockpit and the gap here, but overall it still did well. My worries about these falling under their own weight was kind of, broken apart. They don't do that, and the wings themselves are still pretty sturdy, so again, my worries there have disappeared. The top fin, as I said, not the biggest fan, but better than having these open studs. So yeah, I think I had a lot of fun today. Make sure to comment below what you think about this build. Are you a fan of the UCS version? I don't think that the UCS version is going to be on my list. I definitely understand why people enjoy this set now. It's definitely fun to have this iconic shape of a ship and to be able to move the wings up and down and fly it about. So it's definitely opened my eyes as to why people enjoy this set, or I guess the other variants. Would I buy the UCS version? Probably not. I think I prefer the size of this one over having such a large version of it. So I'm gonna have to pass on that, but still a good set overall. So write down in the comments what you think of the set. Do you have the other variants? Are you a big fan, or are you just kind of like, yeah, it's a good add to my collection, but that's about it? And then if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like. Tomorrow will be the May the 4th, so we will have another kind of special video that we filmed like a few days ago, where we had a little trip down to the Lego store to, get ready for this week of Star Wars. We will be building another set, not a battle pack, but a proper set, and growing our Imperial army. And then stay tuned, we do have another video after that. And of course, there are many shorts that we are also releasing each day of this week. So if you want a bit of a fun, humorous thing, do make sure to watch those. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, I shall see you in the next one, folks. Take care.